All right, hello. All right. Force 10 from Navarone. Okay, look at this. Okay, this tells you what this film is about right here. It's about destroying a dam. Okay, in fact, they're destroying a dam. Spoiler alert, to wipe out a bridge. Okay, is it the Pat Tillman Bridge? I don't know. Is it the Hoover Dam? No, but we may have a reference to it here. This film, this is one of these films that YouTube's been keeps chucking in my face. Now, if it had had this as the thumbnail, I would have watched this ages ago. As it happens, I just watched it a week or two ago. Um, so this is one that could have potentially been watched maybe a month ago potentially. I don't know when it started showing me it. It seems like it's been sat there for a while. Anyway, interesting with the Navarone and the Nevada. I don't know, and the number 10 in here, of course, for completion. Um, and the Force with Harrison Ford over here starring in it as well. The Force 10 from Navarone. So we got the one at the end of it as well. I don't know what to say about it. Um, hmm, um, I I really don't know how much of a decode to do on this, really, to be quite honest, because just the cover shows you what's going on. There's a couple of bits in it that I want to show you though, but all these actors that are in it all tie back to significant other films, I guess, or other significant franchises like um, Richard Keel is this, Jaws. So we've got this tie back to James Bond again with um, Barbara back here. This is another tie back to James Bond. In fact, Bob Shaw was in a James Bond film with Sean Connery. And what's interesting about this film is we've got Harrison Ford in it. That, of course, we have the Star Wars reference with Harrison Ford. We have um, what do we have? We've got so many overlaps here. I'm going to end up repeating myself. I'm sure of it. But like Bob Shaw, he was in Dam Busters, and he just had a little part in it. Um, and then we had uh, Harrison Ford doing the lifted version of Dam Busters with Luke when they blow up the Death Star. That trench run is basically kind of copied from the Dam Busters. So we have a nice reference back to that film there. The link with um, Sean Connery here with Bob. Again, we have another link with Sean Connery with The Last Crusade, and you won't believe it. I'll show you the pictures here in a minute. But the baddie German officer that Harrison Ford, ends up fighting on the tank in The Last Crusade as it goes off the canyon, like the 131 steam train in Back to the Future goes off the canyon, the tank, the big water tank. Okay, that thing. This is what we're in right now. Yeah, we're in the big water tank. Okay, that's what the dam is, isn't it? It's just a big tank of water. Okay, this is what um, Neo is birthed out of, the tank of water, or kind of gooey, slimy stuff. And again, Bob Shaw was in um, Jaws. We have that reference in the Back to the Future 2 scene, which is the Hoover Dam scene or the hoverboard scene. Um, that's the reference to the Hoover Dam getting blown up in Back to the Future. There's lots of other little references with Doc going, damn, damn, where's that kid? Damn, where's that kid? where's he at? Damn, 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 damn. That's where he's at. He's at the dam. I'm losing my train of thought now. But we've got so many references in this thing. It's just unreal, and they're just little references. Okay, so again, like I was, with the tank thing, and we at the start of that scene in Back to the Future, we have the reference back to Jaws, Jaws 19. Remember, the mirror of 19 is pi. This is the pi. The dam is the pi, and well, Bob gets eaten, but Roy ends up he ends up on the cross, and he has to shoot the shark tank, the tank of air that he's just put in the shark. He has to shoot that thing to kill the Matrix, basically, to kill the shark, and that's what we're in, Shark Tank. Okay, you've seen the program, surely. I think England has Dragon's Den is the equivalent. Okay, so Shark Tank, it's the commercial capitalistic system that we're in, the Matrix system. Okay, it's all greed, greed fed, greed run. It's all about greed. That's the bottom line with the system. So we have the Shark Tank reference, the loads of tank references, but with Indiana Jones we have the same idea with the tank reference, and there's again we've got the tank reference here as the tanks come across the bridge. I'm going to show you some of the numbers of the tanks, but of course the guy that he's fighting I'll show you in a minute as well, but there's that tank reference again. What else did I want to say? Okay, also Harrison Ford also has that dam jump scene. It's not exactly the. I mean, of course, the one in GoldenEye with Pierce Brosnan is a much better done scene. But again, it's that idea of coming over the dam. So that was The Fugitive with Harrison Ford. He has his little dam jump scene there as well. And interestingly enough, when he's running through the passageways to the dam, it does remind me, in this film, that does look similar to the. I mean, it's going to look similar, isn't it? Because we're inside the same sort of system there. Okay, but there's lots of little bits and bobs in here. Again, with the Dam Busters reference, they're in a Lancaster bomber. I'm pretty sure. And they get shot down. Okay, so they made a point of mentioning that in the film. They also have the point of having a black guy in the film. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be. I don't know how to say this and be politically correct about it, but in they've got I guess I don't know, want to say token black guy here, but they've got a black guy in the film for a reason. Okay, and in the Dam Busters, they have a dog that is a black lab that is called the N-word. Okay, that's the big hoo-ha about the Dam Busters, about that name that's in there for the dog. And again, they've made a point to have this guy in the film. Is it a reference to that idea? There is a scene where Jaws here, Richard Kiel and Carl get into it, and he is calling him Blackie in it. Okay, so they make a point to mention. I mean, obviously they're not they're not going to be able to say the N-word very easily in a 1978 film, but they make a point to have that scene in there to make a point of him being black. Okay, and I think that's just a reference back to the Dam Busters with the dog. What else have we got going on? I'm going to show you that scene with him, and I'm going to show you the tanks. And there's a couple of other little references to Star Wars in here as well, and I think that's tying back to the trench run. What was there? Was a, I mean, even in the Dam Busters, right? I forget the character's name. It's oh bloody hell, now I've forgotten his name as well. What is his name? I can't think of it off the top of my head. Um, I can't remember, Barnes, whatever Barnes. It might be Barnes Wallace or something like that. He's the guy that um, invents the bouncing bomb. Okay, I think it's his wife. I'm pretty sure it's his wife that has. Um, just look at her haircut. How her hair is done up. Okay, she's got the Princess Leia haircut. Okay, it's real subtle, but you know that's where that Princess Leia thing is lifted from. It's another reference back to Dam Busters. Um, so there's lots of little, the two little buns on the side of the head. So there's lots of little references everywhere. I mean, I want to say, the Force be with you, Luke. Force 10, 10 completion, Navarone, the one. Okay. I don't know. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad, is that how it goes? Oh dear, I don't know. Christmas, the one. Um, Let me show you some of these bits and bobs in here because I'm just going all over the place with this now. I can't think that there was any other kind of major things that I want to reference here. But again, even Carl with Rocky, and then that tie back with Demolition Man. There's a bunch of stuff in Demolition Man, and actually, um, Sylvester Stallone's done quite a few films that have little references back to the idea of um, coming out of this. I've covered a few of them coming out of the Matrix, so to speak. I don't know, because that's really what most films are about. Uh, in honesty, most of them are about overcoming something, which is basically overcoming the things that's controlling you, which is about coming out of the Matrix. Um, Coming out of the false control system, whatever that might be. Um, Whether that's an internal aspect of your ego or an external aspect of it. Um, anyway, let me show you some of these. Um, excuse me. Let me show you some of these. I'm gonna have a real good cough in a second. I got him up here. So this is the first shot, right, of just before they're going to blow up the dam, because they've had an ordeal to get to this point, and we'll go back and see some of the other stuff. But before they're going to blow the dam, the Germans start moving these tanks out. Okay, so let's see if I can just play a couple of little bits of this without getting a copyright. There are some interesting numbers at the back here. I think these are all got an R in front of them, and there's an R25. I don't know what this one on this end is. R77. I think there's an 87 or something like that somewhere here. But again, we have. Oh, I've already gone by it. We've got an R01. Okay, so there's a 118 reference there, and also a 10 reference in reverse here. And actually, if you read the whole thing in reverse, it's a 118 reference. Here we go. There's the first tank. R. And if we can make it out in between these soldiers here. 20. Oh, blooming hell. Come on. 209. So there's our 29 reference. Pretty important. Again, with the 18, the R is pretty important as well with the central balance point and that reference back to Physical Man. And let's see if I get to this other place here. Hang on a minute. I know roughly where it is. Somewhere right about here, I think. Here it is. Hopefully I'm far enough back now. So we've got that little bit with the tanks. This is going to be important in a minute. We'll come back onto that in just a second. While I'm at this point, though, we've got Carl and I don't know what the other guy's name. Who plays this other role? Fox, I think his name is. But in the film he's called Millie. The character's called Millie, which again, I mean, I don't want to waffle on about my own um, synchronicities with this, but I had a childhood friend growing up called Millie, and we we basically we were friends all the way through from, because friends come and go, but we were friends all the way from primary school, um, and then when we got into secondary school, there was kind of a split off for us because the town which I lived in, if you lived on one side of town, you went to the one part of the same school, two different campuses. So if you lived in one side of the town, you went to the one school, one campus, and if you lived in the other side, you went to the other campus. And of course, just the way the dividing line fell, we went to two different campuses for a while, for a couple of years, and then we were back together again um, to finish out all that sort of, I don't know what age that group that is, like 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 actually, because we were both there till end of A levels. But um, it was just one of these little synchronicities. It made me think of a time when we were in primary school, and they'd taken us up to the Lake District for for a little camp thing, out on this farm in the middle of nowhere. And I remember there was a little stream running through the thing, quite reasonable little stream, almost really a brook really. And I remember a bunch of us out there, and I remember being out there with Millie, and we was pretty poor behaviour really when you think about it, but we were busting the sides off of this creek and damming up the creek as kids do, just playing. But I remember building dams in that little stream, creek, brook thing. I remember building dams in it, and we'd get enough water back behind there and then bust the thing down. I mean, for a synchronicity, I, I don't know. I don't know. You can tell me in the comments what you think about that. But I mean, is it a reach to have a friend called Millie that has this connection? That name is connected back to this film, and recalling building dams as kids. I don't know. Don't know anymore. Anyway, here we go. Listen to this bit of music on this part. Tell me where it's from. We really need to play it for more than 3 seconds as well. Hang on. It's just coming up. Hang on. Now you hear the start of that. That's lifted. It's going to say it's lifted from Star Wars, because of course Star Wars is a year earlier than this. This is Millie, and I don't know what Carl's character's called. I should look that up. I've got a tab up with where that on the Wikipedia. That's off of Wikipedia. That image that I was just on. But yeah. Also, the thing to note with Millie is he is a demolition expert, and I mean that obviously references something already with a certain 2001 demolition job. Okay, so again, it's just round in circles. But this tie back with Star Wars here, somebody would be just saying to me, Dan, they just put that in there because Harrison Ford is in it and he was just in Star Wars, and they've just put it in there as a little, as an ode to that film, or something. You know what I mean? Yeah, or maybe they're tying back to the trench run in that film, and back to the Dam Busters, and tying it back into this film. I don't know. Let's have a look at some of this other stuff in here. I want to show you this tank. Let's see if I can find a picture of the tanks here. This is where it runs into. Here's a picture of the dam at the top. Oh, this is the dam breaking now, and here's the tanks. Okay, and I'll show you the connection to Harrison Ford and the other guy. This is the bridge they're trying to knock down with the water. Spoiler alert. And here's the guys actually abandoning the tanks. Okay, this, I don't know what number that is on there, but anyway, that 209 tank is they make a point of having it come across the screen several different times. Of course I can't find it now, but you can get the general idea. Here's R04. 04. Come on now. I'm not going to be able to find it, but I can assure you it's on the thing. It's one of the first tanks they show, the R209, and then they show it again when it's about to blow up. Here we go. Here's a nice little shot of the actual dam blowing up. Right. Let's show you this other guy as well while I'm here. See if I can find a picture of him. Here we go. So you'll recognize him now from the I think he's talking to Harrison Ford here as well. Yeah. Okay. So you can see some of these characters. There's Robert Shaw, and if I actually play just a few seconds of this,
we better not stuff.
Oh dear, oh dear. Here we go. Let's go back to here, and now you can see Barbara here as well. But yeah, I don't know what to say. The fact that we have this again, this tank reference, this guy going over the cliff, the same as the 131 steam loco in Back to the Future 3. The tank being destroyed, and the dam is just a big holding tank. So I mean, I think, I don't know, maybe some of these references to tanks now, we've seen a few of them with the Ukraine thing. The reference to the tank becomes more interesting. What other bits did I want to show you in here? I don't know. I think that's really it. I don't really think there's anything else that I wanted to go majorly into detail about. I mean, I feel like I'm missing something here. I mean, I think I've mentioned everything. I think I've, you know, there's a nice little. I mean, did I mention that? I'm pretty sure I mentioned it, but there's a nice little reference from Carl in this back to the Boulder Dam. Okay, they make a point to mention that as well. Okay, they make a point to mention the Lancaster bomber. They make a point out of Carl being black. Which I think is a reference back to the dog in Dam Busters. The Boulder Dam is the Hoover Dam. This is why we have the boulders in that scene when the clock tower gets destroyed by Griff and his counterparts on the, for want of a better term, rocket missile board. Okay. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it really. There's so many tiebacks now with just this one film. And of course, right at the start of this film, let me just show you this. They have this. They show you the shot of the guns of Navarone getting blown up, which is where Millie and I can't remember what his character's name is in this actually. Doesn't matter anyway. And Rob Shaw have gone in to blow this thing up. Different people playing the roles though in the original film. Wants to play it on. Hang on a minute. There's an explosion, and I don't know if we can see him coming down the side of the hill here. Oh, again, this shot of this thing is very reminiscent of the it shows up in a few places, like in Labyrinth with David Bowie, and David Bowie's what's the name film as well, music video for Black Star. Okay, this kind of big, I don't know, this kind of rock thing going on. Okay, come on, let's get to the guns coming down. Here they come. And so the Twin Towers, if you can make them out, it's pretty dark. But we've got the Twin Towers collapsing and falling here. Here they come. Yeah, the two great big guns here. So, I don't know, you know, we've got that at the start of the film, and then we go all the way to the end, which is the dam blowing up, okay? I'd probably have to watch it again to pick up on some of the other stuff that's in here. I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's a part where Millie's stuck up the tree and with the in the parachute, and that's kind of reminiscent of GoldenEye again as well. Because I think can't quite remember in GoldenEye what happens with the parachute, but something happens where he's stuck in the tree there for a minute or two. I think maybe I'm getting that wrong. I don't know. Somebody can correct me in the comments. It's been a while since I've watched GoldenEye, but I need to do a video on that actually, because I got another little nice tie-in with another film that I've talked about before as well with that. So I don't know, but again, what was I just thinking about with? I'm going to call it quits on this because I'm just rambling now. I'm just all over the place. All right, hope you enjoyed that, and yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. All right, cheers, bye.